So welcome back, family, like I said before, and we're here with another PSA blind reveal. So let's just go ahead and get started. This is a 34 card submission. Did take a little over 3 months, so this is probably one of the longest times I've waited to get through and get a submission back. So this submitted back in the end of January and just now got, so hopefully we can see what's going on. I do have another submission that's pending. I think it's still actually under research and ID at PSA, so hopefully we'll see that when we see that. Maybe later this month or within the next month or so. But it does look like it's taking about 3 months. That when they updated their turnarounds, that's what they kind of moved it to, is roughly to that 15-week mark. So 3 months plus. So let's go ahead. This should be a pretty wide variety of different Marvel, Star Wars, and Looney Tunes, similar to our recent CGC submission. So again, if you like reveals like this, please let me know by hitting like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into this 34 card submission. So right on top, we have one of the few matriarchs I submitted to PSA. This is Captain Marvel on, I believe this is a purple to 13, so fairly low numbered to 13. And this one gets a 9. These are thicker cards, so you can see how different that is comparatively to some of the others, but I'll take a 9, especially on these thicker Fleer Ultra cards. So PSA 9 on a purple foil through 13. All right, moving on to some Looney Tunes here. We have a sketch by Andrew Lopez. And this one is a Daffy that gets a near mint 8. So these sketches, generally speaking, lots of handling, so you're not going to get the best grades on them, but still wanted to get this of Daffy, which I have a couple of Daffy sketches. I think one is in my pending order right now at PSA. So we got an 8 and a 9. Sticking with the Looney Tunes here, this looks like a Susie voice actor auto in the Retro Rubies for Lola Bunny. And this one gets a 9. So there you go. Retro Rubies, fairly short printed auto set. Susie as Lola. There we go. So a couple 9s and an 8. Still sticking with our Looney Tunes. Looks like we should have another auto. This one's the 25. I'm not sure if this is Sousa or Bergman, but this is one of those autos. It's a Bergman auto to 25. This one only got a 6. So again, these paper cards are fairly notorious conditions, so edging, corners, all that. But there is probably something bigger that I probably missed that made it get just a 6 on this gold auto at a 25. So there we go with that. Nope. Here's another sketch. This one by Manuel Pinzon. This one is a Mark Antony in Pussyfoot. I got a 9. So cool. I'll take that on a sketch. Yeah, there's going to be very few that, especially on these paper cards, that you're actually going to gem in terms of sketches with all the handling. But I'll take a 9, definitely. One of my favorite duos in Looney Tunes. All right, sticking with it, we have one of the ever so popular 86 Fleer sets. So you get 2 of these per case in Fleer Retro. So also consider it a chase insert, but a little bit more readily available. This one of Tweety. And this one also gets a 9 on the Tweety 86, 87 Fleer. So 9 starting to rack up, especially with this mostly Fleer Retro part of our submission, so not too surprising. As we continue on, like I said before during our CGC submission and reveal, this is one of my sets that I'm collecting, is these catchphrases. Here's a Lola Bunny, the Ooh Fun, and this one gets an 8. So I'll take that. Again, we were getting mostly 8.5s from CGC, so I imagine we're going to get a handful of these 8s here on these cool lenticular chase inserts. All right. Next one up, a Yosemite Sam of You Rackin' Frackin' Varmint. And this one, it also gets an 8. So we'll probably have a running theme of getting mostly 8s out of here. I think I may have some PMGs as well, so I imagine we'll get some 7s and lower. We already got a 6 in one of the autos, but if we can get a 9 out of anything out of this, it would be a very big win. All right, next up, more catchphrases. Here's Marvin the Martian. You have made me very, very angry indeed. And this one, oh, this makes me very happy with a 9 on this catchphrase, so I'll definitely take that. I think we did get 1 9 on a Foghorn Leghorn catchphrase at a CGC, but I'll definitely get 1 on probably one of the biggest chases out of Looney Tunes of Marvin the Martian. All right, another chase insert. This one of one of the biggest characters, Bugs Bunny. So our first one of these of him boxing in the suspended animation chase inserts acetates got a 9, I believe. And this one gets a gem mint 10. Yep. So I would say this will confirm that these acetate cards are probably one of the better chase inserts to try to get graded, because out of all of them, these happen to be grading the best so far. We do have a couple to test this out, but good to see that. Bugs Bunny, chase insert, suspended animation, and a gem mint 10. So there's our first 10. All right, another suspended animation, this one of Gossamer. Looks like a fairly newer version of Gossamer. And this one also gets a gem mint 10. Sweet. There we go. I'm taking these all day. One more. A Wile E. Coyote. Also probably one of the biggest chases out of Looney Tunes. This one only gets a 9. That's fine with me. 9 on the suspended animation of Wile E. Coyote. There we go. So, yeah, that definitely confirms. Send those acetate chase inserts to PSA. They'll probably grade fairly well, because I probably the best grading of them. All right, speaking of PMGs, we did submit at least one of these PMGs to PSA. This is a blue Roadrunner Retro. This one gets an 8. Cool. I'll take that. Again, with PMGs, 8 is pretty much getting like a 10. I think last I saw, and this might have been a few weeks to a month ago, there were no gems out of the Metal Universe sets. And I think it was like a 6% rate for 9s. So getting an 8 is pretty much getting like a gem mint 10 in my mind. So I'll definitely take that, and I'm gonna pseudo color match blue PMG of Roadrunner. Next on up, we're moving into our Marvel now. We have a Pink Lasers variant cover of Spider-Man. These are numbered to 692 for these Pink Lasers variant covers. And this one gets a gem mint 10. Great. Again, big character, nice numbered card. I'll definitely take that. So that's our third gem so far. We got through, I'm assuming we got through all of our Fleer Retro. So let's see what the Marvel and Star Wars parts of this submission will bring us. And that's what, still need to cut these off. They did add extra tape to this, so that's why it's been a little bit tougher to get out. So I think that's what, 14? Usually put 20 here for this. Let's get this bigger half out and see what we have here. All right. Back to our Masterpieces Platinum, 92 Platinum. This is a 10 out of 10 Emerald Surge. Again, on the variant cover of Doctor Strange. And this one only gets a 9. So this one was hoping for a 10, because again, this was the numbering of 10 out of 10. But I'll definitely still take a 9 on this fairly short printed Doctor Strange. So there we go with that. Next on up, we have a variant cover red prism of Hulk to 292. And this one also gets a 9. So there's a 9 there. That's 2 9s and a gem, but we did gem the Spidey, so I'll take that. Oh, or it looks like we're back onto some Fleer Retro Looney Tunes. Here's one of Lola on the Ultra abilities. And this one gets a gem mint 10. That's nice. So another thing that I also have been noticing is of all the die cuts, these Ultra abilities are the ones that are grading the best. So I've seen a few online that are getting a handful of 9s, which again for die cuts is not easy to do. Cool. Lola and the Gem Mint 10. Another Ultra ability here. This one of Witch Hazel. And this one also gets a Gem Mint 10. Sweet. Alright, more die cuts. This one is the Golden Touch. Here you see here, Porky. These are considered one of the more rare of the chase inserts. You usually either get one of these, a jambalaya, or a platinum portrait in the case. And this one only gets an 8, which is again, figure with that, most of the time it's gonna be down here, where you see some issues and you kind of see it on that corner and edge for these golden touches. So I'd be surprised if you get a whole lot of 10s out of here. Again, black border tends to be prone for white edging issues. But this one, I'll take an 8 on a Porky Golden Touch. More die cuts. This one of the ever so popular Acme Advantage insert set, so dedicated to Wile E. Coyote and Acme. This one is the chemistry set that gets a 7. So again, this is a little bit lays a lot to form on these die cuts. The edges, the corners, most for these, it's that top edge that tends to be a little bit trickier. But a lot of like these little cuts here that are prone to fraying a little more. You can see up there that edge and corner coming up a little bit. So not too surprising, but there's 7. So our outside of the Ultra abilities and the suspended animations, I will say the Fleer Retro is playing the form of a handful 8s, a 7, and a 6, which I think is what we had mostly in the last PSA submission. All right, back to 92 Platinum. This is one of the biggest PMGs I was able to get. A Black Cat, another blue PMG here. This one I actually got out of the E-Pack. This one only gets a 7. So, again, a little bit tougher here. There was one thing, I think there was a little bit of a surface issue up there that I was wondering if it was part of the design or if they thought it was just part of the card. So that kind of confirms that, yeah, that was just, again, the QC on this, not the greatest, but I'll take a 7. Alrighty. Oop, back to some more PMGs. I thought I had these in here. There's a handful of Daffy red PMGs coming up. This one's on the Metal Universe 4, and reds to 100. This one gets an 8. I'll take that. Taffy red PMG, a near mint 8, which in my eyes is basically a 10, especially for these mostly paper cards. All right, another on the Metal Universe. This one's the 36. I'm on the phone. Another red PMG of Daffy. Another 8. There we go. Good to see there. Again, if maybe that corner was better. Again, these corners, edges on PMGs, pretty tough. So 8, you'll definitely take. All right, back to 92 Platinum. This is a red prism variant cover of Daredevil to 292. Coming fresh off his Born Again series. And this one gets a gem mint 10. A nice color match Daredevil. So here we go. Which I believe are our Emerald Surge of Daredevil also gems. So getting pretty good luck with our Daredevil cards. All right. Did have another Emerald Surge in here. Another variant cover. This one of Silver Sable. And these Emerald Surges are 210. And this one gets a gem mint 10 on the Silver Sable. Very much looking like Farrah Fawcett. But definitely take that. Nice sable. All right, so our gems are catching up as we get into a Topps Chrome Marvel card. This may be I might have 1 or 2 in this submission. This one of Jackpot. Jackpot and a gold, a true gold, that gets a rare gem mint 10. Again, these golds out of 50. I've said before, these true refractors are not easy gems out of Topps Chrome Marvel. So there we go. Nice. All right, back to some Looney Tunes. Back to my catchphrase set and the ever so popular What's Up Doc. The first one in the set, as you can see here. And this one also gets an 8. There we go. Again, that's what I figure with these catchphrases. We're mostly going to get 8s. Very surprised with that Marvin that got a 9. All right, speaking of Marvin, it looks like a handful of Fleer Retro Looney Tunes in here. So this is to 75. This should be a Sapphire on the Skybox Premium to 75. And this one gets a 9. Take that. These Star Sapphires. It's a 75 of a big character. Though having that Emerald to 25 for Marvin would be a nice color match as well. All right. More PMGs. Here we have Witch Hazel on the Retro Metal Universe. This is a green PMG to 10. I'm not gonna, you can already see an edge issue right there and some soft corners. So let's see what this got. This got a 7, and that's what I figured it would. But I'll take a 7 on a green. pseudo color match PMG of Witch Hazel. All right, more PMGs from Looney Tunes, another retro. This is a Lola red PMG to 100, 1 of 100, the alpha. And this one also gets a 7. So these 7s I equate to a PSA 9 with most others, but I'll take those. And this is our third, and I think final, Daffy Duck red PMG that I submitted. Another in the retro. This one also gets a 7. Again, some surface issues. You can see some little dents on the top there, as well as you can see the serial printing on the bottom there too. All right, back to catchphrases, and this is, I think, our third and final Bugs Bunny catchphrase, where you should have taken that left at Albuquerque. And this one gets a 7. So yeah, did notice there was some surface issues on that. You can actually see that right there. Again, edges right up there. But definitely wanted this in a PSA holder. Iconic phrase. And a 7. All right, 2 more. Both in the Looney Tunes. Here we have, again, that 86 Fleer set. This one of Daffy. This one gets a 9. So I think we submitted one of these to CGC that also got a 9, if I'm not mistaken. And the same card to PSA also gets a mint 9. And finally, we have a Retro Rubies to 50 of Michigan J Frog. And this one gets a 9. Cool. And there we go. 9 on the Retro Rubies, or the True Rubies, so to speak. So there's the 34. You know what? No. We did miss on a few that I was hoping to get slightly better grades on. This was very interesting, the 6. The 7s, I figured I was going to get there. I do wish the Black Cat at least got an 8, as well as the Witch Hazel green, but I'll definitely take 7s. Handful of 8s, mostly in the catchphrases that I said before. I'm very happy to get those red PMGs, and especially the blue PMG. That's probably my favorite of Roadrunner to get an 8. And one of the sketches getting the 8. Lot of 9s. That definitely led the way. With the various Skybox premiums, as well as a couple of the masterpieces and others. And then still I got a decent amount of 10s, including the one Topps Chrome Marvel in this part of the submission. I have 2 bigger ones, and I think in the next submission. Very surprised to get some of these in Fleer Retro Looney Tunes, the gem, those 2 ultra abilities, as well as the 2 suspended animations. So overall, yeah, it was a good submission. Again, I have a 29 card submission still at PSA. It's still in research and ID. I'll hopefully get it by the end of this month to show you all, and that should have some fairly big Topps Chrome Marvel cards in it, as well as some Star Wars. So I actually didn't see any of the Star Wars in here, so it's all Fleer Retro and Marvel. So hopefully you'll see those. Again, I'll be taking a little bit of break in grading until PSA and CGC can really catch up with their queues. So I do have a handful of cards I want to submit to them, but I'll hold off until it looks like they're in a better shape to get through them. So later this month, there's a big basketball release, at least for me, in my favorite set of Revolution. So keep your eyes out for that. And always, if you like what you see, please let me know by hitting like and subscribe. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by.